into the property?
We got our first system in July, the smaller system. I got it up and running, and then 8 weeks later we got the 900. And so we've had the two systems running in tandem since early September. So just on 10 weeks now we've had them up and running together. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your experiences so far, or the difference was introducing the Fodder system into the property versus before.
Well, yeah, what we've found, we've definitely been able to dramatically increase our carrying capacity on the property. Just a small property here. When we introduced the fodder, we had oats for the cattle, but it ran out rapidly. The dry end of winter and into spring, it turned very dry, and having the fodder system, the cattle didn't go backwards at all. When the oats ran out, we were able to keep them going, and they kept putting on weight gain right through. So on a steadily increasing weight gain. So yeah, we found that it's definitely paying off already. Seeing those results, increased carrying capacity, still putting on weight through the dry spell, as well as when you run out of fodder, normally you'd have to unload cattle, whereas with the system that we've got in place now, you can keep buying right through the dry spells and the wet spells, and the good seasons and the bad seasons. We'll be able to continue our business of turning cattle over right through without having the effects of
Other Nature.
Yeah, actually, Lee, you touched on it this morning because you had a really bad hailstorm 8 weeks ago through here.
Yeah, we had 90 acres of barley here, and it was a pretty good looking crop, and almost ready to start harvesting.
Yep.
With the idea that all the grain would be kept on farm for the fodder, but yeah, we had 2 hailstorms in a week, and most of it ended up on the ground, and plus the continuous wet weather, it just ruined the grain. So we've had to buy in better quality grain to keep the systems going. But
so when we were talking earlier on this morning, you were saying that you've got some extraordinary results, basically, from it's a 1-to-5 ratio, so you're putting in one and you're getting 5 back.
That's right. So you put it with the fodder system, you put in for every kilo of grain you put in, you're pulling out in excess of 5 kilos back out, and all we're adding to it is water for the growth, so germinating it and getting the growth in it. So nothing else goes in the system at all. It's just water and grain and
a bit of electricity to put the lights on.
And then, so in 5 days you're going from dry grain to a mat of fodder that the cattle are just really taken to it really easily. They do well on it. They eat it. We don't find that we're getting a lot of shy feeders or anything like that. They just take to it, and it's just a natural sort of progression in towards a high ration of fodder for the cattle. Like with grain, you can have all sorts of problems when you introduce them to grain. They can get acidosis and things like that. Whereas with the fodder, you don't have those issues.
So they're healthier as well.
Yeah, and there's that other problem, trying to get cattle on the ground.
What else? So from a cost-effective point of view, obviously there's an investment to put the Fodder Solutions System in the first place.
That's correct, yeah.
But the payback, obviously, is that you're now returning a profit by putting in or being able to sell
cattle
earlier,
quicker
than you were before.
Yeah, that's right. So the benefits are that you can increase your carrying capacity, but the input costs are very limited. Like you just got your grain, which at the moment is around about $300 a tonne. You're converting a $300 tonne of grain to 1.1 tonne of grain makes 5 tonne of fodder for $300 plus your costs of running your machine and overheads like that, which is fairly low. So it works out pretty cost effective as far as growing grain and turn that into a feedlot ration compared to this fodder way. It seems to be, some seem to add up this way more so than the other way.
Yeah. But I guess the other thing, Lee, you were talking about as well was the backup or the consistency of the system and reliability of it.
Yes.
This morning.
Yes. No, I just find that you, as Tom said earlier, you don't have to sell the cattle at a low price. During a drought, you don't have to offload because you've got no feed. Like, this is a constant feeding system, and you've always got feed there for the cattle. They're always, you're not. I mean, you still worry about Mother Nature, when the rain's coming and when it's not, but it's not as imperative as years gone by, sort of thing. We can, we've got that consistent sort of from day one. You've got grain right through to, feeding it off in a matter of days.
So you're talking about a bit of a growth plan too. You're saying that in time, well, not in the not too distant future, you're thinking of putting another
expanding.
5 units in.
Ideally, we'd like to have a system for each day, so you'd have 5 systems going, and that would give us around about 5 tonne plus of fodder per day to extract and through cattle. That then gives us the turnover that we'd require to sort of cover all the costs and get it done, basically. Yeah.
How do you find using it? I mean, I was watching you guys work this morning, and it was a real team effort. Is it simple once you get into a routine?
Yeah, the routine is very, very an easy format, really. We have to soak the grain. That's something. So in the morning when we go across there, you start the process of soaking grain for 1 to 2 hours. At the same time, we then have to pull the sheets of fodder out. So one bay, there are 24 sheets or biscuits come out, and that really it only takes a couple of minutes to pull them out, throw them into the bucket, and it goes into a mixing wagon with hay, and at the same time, one or both of us get in and start cleaning. So we scrub the trays out, give them a good hose and gurney, give the whole machine a good clean.
You want to keep disease out.
I noticed you're doing the chlorination.
Yes, you've got to keep your system clean so that you don't introduce bacteria and
that sort of stuff.
So usually sort of Tom heads off. Oh, well, you finish.
Yeah, so the process, while the grain's soaking, we get all the other systems happening, and so within the hour that takes to soak the grain, we always emptied out, cleaned up, gone and fed the cattle and come back, and then we just seed up the trays again, and the whole process is finished for the day. So
usually as
1 to 2 hours maximum in the morning, and that side of things is done, and we can go about doing the rest of the work that we need to do.
Usually as Tom's taking the cattle, the feed down to the cattle, he starts off the filling up process because I can't reach up as high. He does the high ones and I do the low ones. I only do it on the weekend because our son's here during the week, but we give him the weekend off. And I fill it up, and by the time Tom's back, I've filled up and we're ready to go. And lots of times then I'll just gurney down outside just to keep it clean and that sort of thing. So it's a real team effort and a family effort, Dean does it through the week, and
so it doesn't tie us down to an extent. Like, one person can do the whole show in a couple of hours quite comfortably. If there's 2 or more of us here, well, it gets done a lot quicker, and then we go about other chores.
I actually enjoy doing it. I find it filling up is quite therapeutic.
Yes,
I've often said that. and you know you're doing something, and you
The cattle love it. I was just
Yeah.
blown away. They're just chomping into it.
Yeah.
Like there's no tomorrow. Well,
Yeah, they
unfortunately,
really
some
do.
days there won't be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
that's right.
So yeah, just in closing, for any hobby farmer or small commercial property or large commercial property that's watching this, what would your closing thoughts, recommendations be for someone to consider this system?
Yeah, look, it's not a difficult system to set up. It's not a very costly exercise. Most farms would have a lot of the required machinery to sort of conduct a similar setup to what we've got. It's just a matter of being consistent. It doesn't tie you down. You can work your life around it quite comfortably, and it's not a drag. So 1 or 2 hours in the morning and it's done. Then you go about whatever you so desire. But the consistency, being able to level out the highs and lows in marketing by being able to produce a fairly consistent product throughout the year is what we're sort of looking at, trying to do, you know. And it seems to be achieving that purpose at the moment. We really think it's the way to go for ourselves, just on smaller property anyway. Our carrying capacity is incredible now compared to what we were having before. So.
That's what I was going to say, like the turnover is more consistent. You've got that, like we're only new to it, but we've got that, you know, that continual income that's going to be coming in, whether you're in a drought, whether you're in whatever I keep throwing it up, but whatever Mother Nature throws at you, you know, you've got that consistent sort of reliable income
source,
you know, that turnover.
Take a kilo of barley and turn it into 5 kilos of fodder in 5 days. It's you don't see the cattle going hungry now.
No.
Like in a drought, you'd start to see the cattle starting to walk the fence lines or putting pressure on fences and things like that. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. You just don't have to worry about what happens with the weather to an extent, you know.
Yep.
Weather will affect our markets, even buying in grain or your fodder and that, or your hay and that. The market pressures will happen there with your droughts and all that sort of thing. But it's a lot easier to manage.
Yep.
Once you've got your cattle, the systems that we've got going here now, it seems to be working quite comfortably. Where you know that you're going to have X amount of cattle to go each month, and that's what we're sort of aiming to do. You know, to try and level out a lot of the peaks and the troughs in markets. That the swings, you know, like volatility with droughts and that. The cattle market seems to be it is very volatile. Doesn't seem to take much for a hiccup for the market to go down, and hopefully this will sort of even out a lot of that.
Yep. You're also sorry.
I was just going to say, and as we were saying earlier, like you can have this anywhere. You know, like no matter what soil type you've got, you don't have to worry about a soil type. You can just it's in a shed, it's not a container, but it's growing. Like you don't have to. Well, our barley grows on black soil, half red, and you know you get that variation, you know, within your natural soil. But in the fodder systems, you don't get that. Like it's just consistent, and you can just put a shed basically anywhere that you've got water.
Yeah,
really, isn't it?
Actually, just talking about that, you were both mentioning this morning the two things. One was the quality of the water, which isn't dam water; it's bore water.
Yeah, we're using bore water here. Creek water, dam water is fine. You know, you just probably have to have your have a filter system just to make sure that all the sprinklers don't block up or anything like that. But you're better off with bore water or good quality creek water than tank water.
Not tank water.
So you don't. Yeah, bore water is the bore water we're using here is very good quality.
It's good. And the other thing was the quality of the grain you were talking about.
Yeah,
I guess that's important. Is
definitely.
Quality in, quality out.
That's right. Yeah, good quality grain is, and at the moment this season's fairly hard to find. But if you can get like barley we've got onto now, that's 15.5% protein, really high quality, high protein barley, and it's a really good high germination. So the fodder that's coming out of the system with that barley is really, really good quality. Beautiful root mass under it, and it's going really well.
Yeah, fantastic. Guys, I think that's about it. I can't really think of anything else unless you can. But,
Yeah, no, that's...
I think that sums it up very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.